Hi, everybody. My name is Owen Miller, and I am the owner of this channel. And, well, I'm sitting down today with myself to, to give you all a bit of a chance to get to know me a little bit, because I realized that I don't really show my face in anything I do creatively, and this is not the only creative thing that I'm doing. So maybe to step out of the comfort of anonymity and talk about myself a little bit, I've got here some questions asked by, I tell you what, they're not asked by the people who know me best, my girlfriend, parents, anyone like that, best friends. They're asked by people that I know a little bit, and they have genuinely asked me these questions. And some of them are ChatGPT suggestions as well. So I'm going to start with those. But I'm from Cambridge in the United Kingdom, which is where my accent comes from, but it doesn't mean that I'm posh. I would say I'm probably not posh, all things considered. Maybe a little bit yes and a little bit no. One foot in both worlds. Entre dos tierras. In more ways than one, as you're going to find out if you watch to the end of this stream. Not that you have to. Hey, I really hate the culture of like and subscribe and make sure you watch to the end of this video and share it with at least 15 people that you're friends with and all this stuff. I just find it cringe, and I've never wanted to do that, and that's why nothing I've ever done has been with the goal of wanting to be monetized. I think that you will find that to be a theme as we go through this stream. It's not going to be too long. It'll probably be 45 minutes or an hour long. It's not going to be as long as the last episode, which actually overran. Okay, so mostly I've always considered myself, not always, since being about 15, I've thought of myself as mostly being a musician, mostly interested in music. You can see in this corner of the screen, I've got this giant guitar amp behind me. And, you know, I've done okay with that. I think I've done a lot better than most musicians, that's for sure. But I've found that most of my life I've been multitasking in a way that's not mega sustainable. Up until about 3 years ago. Really, everything changed for me around 3 years ago. I'm kind of unrecognizable in some ways. I am the same. There's a thread that runs through my life that's clearly my personality. You know, the configuration of characteristics that are me. They've been the same. I've always been interested in drawing. I've always been interested in music and creativity, and it's not that I've been interested in these things, it's that I've been just naturally drawn towards them. You know, like when I was 6, I would want to draw pictures of Doctor Who, or the Daleks in Doctor Who. I found it incredible that there were all these different versions of them that were different colors and stuff like that, and I used to draw them. And then I got interested in flags as a child, really young, maybe younger than that, maybe 5. I was born in 1997, so we did have a computer at this time, and I used to draw all the different flags of different countries. My dad would describe them to me. My dad's really into football, and I've never been that bothered by football. I've never been intrigued by it naturally, you know. But he'd be watching football, and I'd be like, Dad, tell me about a country, what the flag looks like. And he'd say, okay, well, Poland's very easy. It's white on top, red underneath, or the other way around. It's that way, isn't it? Yeah. And I go back to the computer, and I'd go on Microsoft Paint. I was amazing at Microsoft Paint. And draw a line through the middle, color in the bottom red, file, save, Poland. You know, I've kind of been... it's so funny how the same interests crop up again and again and again in my life, really, especially aesthetically. And maybe I've been interested in what the aesthetic contains, you know, or what's under it, what it represents, where it has its roots. Actually, you know, I never really thought about music as something that was separate from other things. Like there's music at the start of a TV show, there's music during a TV show or film or whatever. There's music in adverts, there's music when we go to the shops, etc. And I had never thought like that you would just listen to music, and literally probably until I was about 14 or 15 when I discovered first Pendulum, then the Red Hot Chili Peppers, then Black Sabbath and Metallica at the same time, and then some other things. Is my mic on? Yes, it is. Thank God, Jesus. This is my third drink, so that will explain why. I've got water and this, which is vodka, 50% vodka and Coca-Cola, Coke de la Cola. Okay, let's go to these questions. So who are you really? How do you explain yourself to someone who's never really met you? And how would you explain yourself to someone who's never met you? More or less is the question. Bloody hell, I don't know the answer to that. Hang on, the second question is the same question. You told me you were a loser with ambition. That was a very striking definition. What does it actually mean to you? That's really funny. This was around 2022. I think this was when I'd realized that I was in debt. I had not got my university degree. I just had quite a traumatic kind of breakup, really. Well, over a year before, but it was having a lot of effect on me, and I don't know, some other things. I wasn't very healthy. I was very unhealthy, actually. I was really feeling weak, and something clicked. You know, something clicked, especially on the health stuff, because I figured, like, literally I'm in a state where I'm an entity and like my right hand is attacking my left. I'm not a unified force. I'm against myself if I'm not looking after myself. And lots of different revelations came from that, including that I shouldn't expect things. And obviously I knew this, but it's something, knowing it and really applying it to the way that you perceive things is quite different. I realized that things take time. I have to be more patient, and I have to know. It's a video. It's a video. There's a video on YouTube called Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Watch this every day. And I watched that video every day when I was in a very low point. It just came up and I was like, fuck it, might as well. Nothing else worked. Maybe this will. And he says, hello, everybody. Tonight I'm going to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. And the strangest secret is, it's 30 minutes long, but to paraphrase, to summarize, it is you become what you think about. And that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I've got that written above this arch. And my God, that's so true. It's so true. It's like, you can be the successful person. The man who runs the corner gas station because he wants to is a success. The woman who's a wife and mother because that's what she wanted to do. She's a roaring success. And it goes on like that. And it's true, because I realized at that point that I'm not trying to be a musician. I am a musician. I play music. I've got fucking instruments fucking everywhere in this room. Yeah, I'm objectively a musician. And the real challenge, I realized, was messaging, was communication, was being able to inform people that I've got the best song that I've worked forever on, and you have to hear it. But without just going up to random people in the street and saying that, you know? And I think I got a lot more sophisticated after that. And that was at the point that I managed to learn this faith, you know, this like, this certainty, this faith is really the best word. I felt like a loser because I'd lost many different games that I thought I was playing, but I wasn't really playing them. But I had ambition. Ambition was a word I remember deliberately choosing. But really what I meant was that I knew where I was going and I knew that I would get there if something doesn't kill me first. And that's just as true 3 years on, and I haven't doubted it for a minute, and it's taken me very far. There's a lot further to go, but it's taken me most of the way, I dare say. Next question. When did you realize that you were not just someone who was a fan of the arts, but you were some kind of artist? Was it like possession? Was it like possession? No, it wasn't like possession. That's just never been... I've never been not an artist, like I said before. And I don't say that to be pretentious. I've been in lots of other things, like a technician, a store worker, someone who distributes fucking leaflets. It wasn't possession, though. Unless you would say, like, my whole life I've just wanted to make things, whether it's with plasticine or clay or drawing or music or YouTube videos, you know, concept albums, articles, whatever. I'll make anything. And I've done so many hours of all of that stuff. You know, there was... Oh, this is the next question. You've made 6 albums, and that's not a small feat. Which one is the most you, and which one feels like someone else? Which one feels like someone else? None of them feel like someone else, I can tell you that. Although I do know why you asked that, but no, the one that they're just different sides of me, really. The artist is a train of thought. I wasn't coming on here to intend to advertise, but the artist is called Train of Thought. You won't find it. Not very many listeners, 25, 30. It goes up to 80 normally if I release something big, but... And I do have people who have me in their top 5 artists on Spotify. So there's some people who really, really get it, you know. I don't know if they're friends of mine or what. I suspect that they're not, actually. But maybe. I'm about to release an album called Remedies. And that's the one that feels the most me. The one that feels the least me is probably the first one, because I was so young and I was very heavily working with 2 or 3 or 4, mostly 2, but a couple of other people too. 2 other people, very, very much where I would... This happened a lot, where I felt like I contributed an idea. And it would just get messed up and like mashed up. And I was pretty unhappy with the end result, actually, especially on the mixing front. And especially because I was never the singer. And the singer quit the band because he found something else to do. And I think it was the right decision. I love that guy. I mean, I'm still friends with that guy. And I just said, you know what? I want to sing because I wrote most of the lyrics. But then I felt like I wasn't actually a good singer and, you know, whatever. How does your obsession with language, like Latin, Greek, and Spanish, blend into your songwriting? Do you think the language shapes the kind of music you write? Well, I did write 2 albums in Latin, like Latin style, not Latin style like but like Roman, ancient Roman, classical Roman. They're in classical Latin, and I dare say, okay, I'll tell you why I wrote that record. It's called Metu Mortis, METV space MORTIS, and the reason I wrote that, not the reason, one of the things that made me want to do that was that I really like the band Ghost, and all of their Latin is wrong. Like all of their Latin, like it's like they've been trying to make it wrong. It's just all wrong. It's all wrong. It's very beautiful, and I don't have anything against them, and I love that band. But it's not correct. It's not grammatically right. In fact, it's grammatically wrong in ways that are really silly sometimes. But I don't think that takes away from the artistry of Ghost. But I thought I could just do it right, especially as like the band Rammstein really helped me with German. I do speak German fluently, and honestly, Rammstein were kind of essential for me learning German, to be honest, especially when I was a teenager. I was really, really obsessed with them for about a year, and it was helping me learn so much German. I kind of wanted to create something that would be the same for people who wanted to learn Latin, and that's why I made Metu Mortis, which means the fear of death. Like there's kind of this sub-thread running through most of the album that's kind of like, well, there's two ideas behind it. One is, what if a Roman was alive today? And by the way, I was conscious of how ridiculous of an idea this is, and how insane it is to write songs about Bacchanalia and Cleopatra and Caligula and like all this stuff. Like I did realize that it was silly, and I was thinking about a band called Ailstorm, who are a pirate-themed band, and Ailstorm, they are very silly. Like they're very, very silly. And I kind of wanted to have a bit of that. Like you've got to have a bit of sense of humor if you're writing songs about like ancient Rome. And I don't know, it's just very nerdy. It's very nerdy. And I also thought like, okay, there might be some people who love it if it's super serious and stuff like that the whole way through. Sometimes it's serious, but it's a mixture. But like, I think that more people will enjoy it and have a better time of it. And it'll mean more to them if it also made them smile. It doesn't just make them go like, yeah, you know. Veni, vidi, vici. I didn't write a song called that. I wanted to use some Latin phrases that people know as well. I'm probably talking way too much about the most obscure thing I've done, but there you go. Language and music, to me, to answer your question, and code to some extent, but mostly those two. I'm not a good coder. They are related to me. They are, I don't know, a set of audible motifs that have a specific meaning when you hear them. Like, let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate something. Don't worry, I'm not going to start singing songs or playing for ages. But I do want to show you something where I will demonstrate that music is a language. Okay. Don't remember the tuning. I hope you can hear that. This is what sadness sounds like. That's it. That's sadness. You know, it just is. Or hang on, I've got another one. This is being freaked out, you know. So there we go. Music is a language. There's no distinction. There's a bit of distinction, but you know. You talk a lot about Apollonianism and Chthonianism, which is Camille Paglia. Are you conscious of that balance you're creating that's like control and chaos? Sorry. conscious of the balance between order and chaos within Apollonianism and Chthonianism. Well, Apollonian, based on Apollo, means it's the eye, it's vision, it's aim, it's deliberate action, it's categorization, it's naming, it's grokking something, understanding something completely. And the Chthonian is mysterious, it's generative, it's subterranean, it's dark, it's feminine, aquatic, flowing, spontaneous, and that type of thing. And to me, it's absolutely essential to have both, actually. The channel's called the Apollonian Eye, but, well, it's kind of a double or triple meaning for me, really. It doesn't really matter what it's called, it's just a channel. And that happens to be the name of the domain, the website domain that I had, because I was rereading Paglia for like the fourth or fifth time about a year ago, and I made the company, the Apollonian Eye Limited, which owns my website, which owns my music, which owns the tools website as well, which I know a number of you used. Thank you for expressing your thanks, because they are really useful, aren't they? They're so good. The vectorizer. Someone sent me an email about the vectorizer. It is amazing. It's amazing. It's so useful. And we don't make you make an account. We don't have cookies. We don't have any of that bollocks that people are trying to turn into vampire teeth to suck your money directly out of your mouse, you know, and sell your email address to random marketing companies. It's just like, fuck you. What is wrong with our economy? What is wrong with people? What is wrong with the norms that we have? Why are these norms? You know, why is it normal for a site to throw at you pop up, and ads on all the sides? We might have ads, but they're not going to be disturbing ads, and they're going to be Google ads. They're not going to be fucking pornography or something like that. Sorry, calm down. Like, why is this normal? Why are these things normal? I think it's really sad to see how our sense of ethics, especially over the internet, has just crashed, which is what I tried to express in the advert. It's not an advert, because we don't make money, and no one paid us to put it there, because it's us. But anyway, sorry, I've gone way off the question. The question was, how conscious are you of the order and chaos, the control and chaos when in your creative work? Okay. I have a song called Crossroads, and that song, the music of the song, not the lyrics, the music, is very Apollonian. I was thinking, like, how do I put in, because it's a song about selling your soul to the devil, how do I put in as many of those creepy chord progressions I just showed you as possible? How do I make it sound symphonic? And I'm going to experiment with all different chords and voicings, and I'm going to do all this, and I'm going to make it change keys several times, but it seems like it's spiraling upwards or downwards, or however people hear it can be different. Thought a lot about it, but the lyrics, I'll tell you what, this is absolutely true. I picked up that acoustic guitar and I played it through, and for some reason, possibly marijuana, I just was inspired to just literally sing all of the lyrics, like the day before or the same day as the recording, maybe a couple of days before, but pretty much very quickly. And they just came to me so spontaneously. And I was like, well, this is a song that's partially about like possession. So I've got to use this, because it was like I was just possessed, like the other question said, in expressing exactly what the music needed me to express. And I don't know, it was mental. I still don't know quite what to make of that. I guess it was my brain. I've been thinking about Faust. I've been listening to Robert Johnson. I've been thinking about how Faust applies in my life and how Faust applies in many modern people's lives. And it just came out of me. A little bit like an AI, when you get it to say something spontaneous and you think, well, that's just some kind of mathematical probability or whatever. It was something like that. it almost felt like it wasn't me. And that's a feeling I'm now much more used to. That started happening a lot more. That sense of, it's not actually me writing this. I want to move on to some things that are not just about stuff I've done, because I'm sensitive to things feeling like an advert. I hate that. Never watch ads. I never watch them. I'm amazed that when you run ads, a certain amount of people just click on them, or because I just have this like allergic reaction of like, I'm going to choose to not pay attention to this because it's pissing me off that every single YouTube video I watch has like 3 minutes of ads in. I guess it's the same as TV used to be, but okay. You talked about the death of seduction in synthetic love. Do you think humanity will survive its own loneliness? That sounds like a ChatGPT question to me. Yeah, I do. I am seriously worried about the attractiveness and the different incentives that are pushing people towards going for synthetic versions of love, romance, and sex, because I think that they're easier. I think that they're a lot easier. Like the idea of a robot partner. Well, aren't you just going to like customize that? Isn't that basically just like your search history? Like, oh, that's what you like. Okay, let's just make that into a person, or a facsimile of a person. And you can pretend that that's another soul that you're connecting with, but it actually isn't. It's not a soul. It's an algorithm. It's an algorithm you fucking designed. Excuse me. I don't usually swear this much. It must be the vodka. And I'm very worried that if the gender war keeps raging and women only listen to women online and stay to women's spaces and just kind of move into the male arena when they want someone to get together with, and men continue to do the same thing more or less, except I think that men's view of women is more like they're this strange, like mysterious, like herd creature, and they're the predator around the outside, but they're kind of scared. Not predator, that's too harsh, but you know what I mean. It's a metaphor, you know, and they're not really sure like what's going to happen or anything. They're like a scared predator. And terrible metaphor. Please forget all of the last few sentences. But you take my point. It's like I think the men are more incentivized to go for a robot partner than the women are. Although I'm not sure that will be the same forever, because I do think that what we're seeing in women's on the female side, permit me to speak about the female side. I'm going to, so deal with it. You know, I think that women get romantic. Women get sexual options, and they have the sense that they have romantic options. And then when those romantic options turn out to be the same kind of 30%, very attractive, very confident, the confidence is much more important than the whatever you incel people think is the perfect skull shape or something. Seriously. Whoever you are, like I knew a guy who was absolutely certain, like, oh, I'm an incel, there's something wrong with my genetics, my face has this shape, you know, whatever. And he thought himself into being an incel because he was psyoping himself, because it was easier. It was easier than taking those risks. It was easier than talking to the girl on the bus that you want to talk to, and just if she says, okay, well, that's nice, thanks for talking to me, and walks off and doesn't give you her number, guess what? You didn't die from that. And she probably respected you for asking. She's already got a boyfriend. She's whatever. She's not interested. Like, but I think for my friend, it was easier for him to tell himself that he was a genetic abomination than it was for him to overcome his fear of speaking to women. And then eventually he did get together with someone, by the way. And it just proves that whatever you think about your skull is just retarded self-talk designed by internet black pill vendors to keep you involuntarily celibate, to keep you watching their content. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it, young men. Seriously. I've seen it multiple times. Well, at least one time. And I don't know. To be honest, I had a period where I was single for almost 2 years, but I don't know. It was a mix of reasons. It certainly wasn't because I thought my skull was wrong, or my genetics were wrong, but I was pretty disenchanted with just dating in the way that I had been before. I found it very uncomfortable, actually. Very uncomfortable, casual kind of dating. But so to answer your question, humanity can survive its own loneliness, but I have this horrible sense that it might not be all of us. Because think about it, it's actually not very complicated. If you don't reproduce, you lose Darwinism. So the rule of Darwinism is that it's adaptive for you to be able to overcome whatever resentment you have about the other gender both ways, and realize that not everyone's like that. Whatever you think the other gender is like, they're not all like that. There are, whatever your definition of an amazing person is, there's an amazing person out there. And I'm very glad I waited those 2 years that I waited, because I then met just the most amazing, perfect person for me. Like, like, it's ridiculous how well we collaborate on the shared project of life. She's everything I wanted, on my list, my materialist list of things that I wanted, and more. So let's move on. How does psychology inform your art? Good question. Well, I'm conscious that people with different types of psychological states and different kinds of personalities are going to watch the same thing. Watch the same thing in very different ways, and they're going to hear different things from it. So, for example, in some songs that I released, people will offer their interpretation of what they think the song is about, and I will think to myself, well, I had no idea that anyone would ever think that song would have fucking anything to do with what you've just said. In my head, I didn't say that out loud. I would say out loud, like, wow, that's so surprising. I think your interpretation is legitimate because that's what you felt when you listened to the song. And that is it might sound a bit postmodern, but that is my thought. Like, if you listen to one of my songs, or one of any song, doesn't have to be my song. If you listen to a song and you think, to me, this song is definitely about whatever thing. I don't know. Can I think of a good example? Off the top of my head? Maybe you are going through a court case and you hear somehow Tom Petty, and you're innocent. That's important. You hear Tom Petty's "I Won't Back Down." I'll stand my ground, won't be turned around. I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, the gates of jail maybe, but I won't back down. And I'll keep this world from pushing me around, because I won't back down and I'll stand my ground. To you, that song could 100% be about the threat of jail if you lose your court case. I just put this example together randomly, you understand. And to someone else, that song can be about... This is an obvious example because he's obviously speaking to an archetype, I think. To anyone who's creative, you're like, well, yeah, he's just talking about not giving up. It could be about any situation where you're not going to give up. My song Crossroads, I mentioned before. Is it about selling your soul? Is it about driving? It could be. You could definitely hit, like, there's a driving metaphor in there. Is it about going onto the corporate ladder when you always wanted to be an artist? Well, I say it's about each and every one of those things, because every reaction is a legitimate interpretation in the sense that you actually felt it, so it's legitimate. I'm not saying that you can argue that in an essay or in a scholarly academic piece of any kind, but to you who has experienced that thing, it is objectively, subjectively real. Objectively, subjectively. It's subjectively real. And it's objectively, phenomenologically real in the sense that you felt it. Okay, whatever, too many long words. Plastic, oh no. Sorry, I'm not going to talk about this because I want to do another video about this. Your channel seems like a modern mystery school. Do you keep a balance consciously between accessibility and I think they meant to write esoteric depth. Yes, it should be esoteric. Yeah, no, exactly. I'm trying to bring some new different angles about different things to the surface. I'm really keen to communicate the sex robot AI lover stuff that I just talked about, because I think that's coming very soon. I think that's coming in about 2 years. I know people in tech. I worked. I know people in tech, and I have a good sense of what's possible and when. I think probably the sex robot thing is just one genius manufacturing method that can reduce the cost away from being a much cheaper and more accessible product. And then I think we're going to be seeing it online. And what's freaky about this to me is that I can see a kind of community emerging with the very early stages of this, where they're really fascinated by the fact that these robots can be taken apart and you can put them together in weird ways. So you can put like multiple arms on it, whatever. And this is where it gets to, for me, to the realm of simulacrum. A facsimile is something that's pretending to be a real thing. And a simulacrum is something that was never real. And oh, I know someone who was born with 3 arms. Like, okay, but you get where I'm coming from. You could make some kind of spider robot that's just covered in dicks or something. Like, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get really fucking weird kind of soon. And I do think that there'll be pushback and there'll be whiplash. And I'm hoping that by the time 2027 rolls around and dick spider robots are all the rage online, that my channel can be a refuge or a guide to help people figure out what the hell is going on, and maybe how they should be interacting, not interacting, or mediating their interaction with things like this. It's existentially challenging, isn't it? This robotics, AI stuff. It's existentially challenging. It challenges things that were human universals before. I had some weird anxiety going on when AI came out, because I felt invalidated, because almost everything that I've spent my entire life learning to do, music, art, writing, these are things that AI can do in seconds. And I don't know, I became a little bit more, I suppose Elon Musk would say fatalistic. Fatalistic for me is not really the right word. It's more like there's an acceptance. But I also see, and I do use AI. Like, AI makes a lot of my thumbnails from instructions. There's one video, I won't tell you which one it was, that was scripted by AI, and I was very unhappy about that. Very unhappy. It made me it put me in a weird mood for like 2 days. And then I realized that I don't even know what I said in that video because I didn't write it. I spoke it into ChatGPT and I said like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to connect it to this. I kind of want to do it now. Can you just write me a script based on what I've just told you? and I got a script, and yeah, it's weird. I feel like I didn't retain the knowledge of that video afterwards, so I sort of had to write the same video again. I won't tell you which ones they are. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future. That's too personal. Sorry. Your relationship is both real and mythic. What's it like? Wow. That's personal too, but I'll tell you. It's like a great romance novel from the 1700s. That's what it's like. Except instead of the lady kissing her handkerchief and leaving the lipstick painted handkerchief with her dress or something over the corner of one of my art pieces or something like that after I've held a gallery, she absolutely inundated my Instagram with likes to the point that I couldn't avoid the notification, or I couldn't accidentally miss the notification. And the more we spoke, we realized pretty quickly that we are beyond compatible. We're like symbiotic. Even in person, even physically, the way that we occupy a space, it's like we're symbiotic. You know how an army, a well-trained army, all the guys in the brigade, guys and women, I guess, people in the brigade, all the soldiers in the brigade. No, you know what? Almost all of them are men, and they die for our safety. And we don't like to admit that most of the people who die for our safety are men. So I'm going to say men. But no offense to women, like there's women in the army. But the men who are like, they're going around an area, you know, they know perfectly where each other is. They know how each other will react to all kinds of different situations. And that's just in their mind. And me and my girlfriend are like that. I kind of know where all her stuff is at any one time. She kind of knows what's going to go through my head if she says this or that, or if something happens or if something else happens. We really, really are symbiotic. It's utterly insane. I actually don't know anyone. I don't know any couple who's quite like us in terms of, and this is why it's good that we were patient. Or, you know, I told you I was waiting. Like, I was just like, fuck this. I can't be bothered to just chase and be like, I don't even care. I want to do other stuff. Like, it's taking a lot of time. It's costing me a lot of money. I'm not really enjoying being casually involved with people, because then it's like someone else that you've got. It's just like, I don't even care. These are not. I can't even have a proper conversation with this lady, the one particular lady I was thinking about. So, yeah, that's the gist of it. It's an insane relationship. We're living in different countries at the moment, and that can be tough. But we remain symbiotic. Really, we do. We remain symbiotic. All right. Last question, I think. When you see yourself 10 years from now, what will you think about? No, sorry. Wait, I've mixed two different questions. What do you hope people understand about what you're trying to do now when you think about yourself in 10 years' time? I hope that people will see that I do all the work on the videos. I do all the editing, I do all the scripting, I do all the filling out the fucking metadata and everything, green screening, just endlessly prompting AI for different visuals, finding, you know, I literally do everything, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And so I think people will see that I really cared about talking about these things. I think people will see my website, tools.apolloniani.uk, and they will recognize that we put this out there with ethics in mind, with internet ethics in mind, with the ethics to have open source code, to not inundate people with ads. And I think people will be able to look back through all the things I've done before. My band Train of Thought, my band Metu Mortis, spelled with a V, METV space MORTIS. And then we'll see that it's artistically, it's got integrity. It is what it is. Not everyone's going to like it. But I think they will see what I'm doing now as hopefully the start of something. I certainly feel that momentum. But I think they will see it as just a natural point in the evolution of the things that really I've always been thinking about. Things I've always been thinking about. All right. You can follow my main other project that I haven't actually talked about yet, which is called Plastic Spires on Instagram at PLASTICSPIRES. The band is called Train of Thought. I think it's Train of Thought UK on YouTube, if you care about that stuff. All the projects are on the website, www.apolloniani.uk, and a selection of free tools, which I really suggest you go and have a look at, because I'm so proud of that website. Tools.apolloniani.uk. And, well, I had 3 different people who wanted to come on this week, so it looks like I might be doing multiple interpersonal live podcasts, whatever these are, during the week. Or if not, we'll do the next one on Saturday. All right. Thank you very much.